mystery.
Hello guys, welcome to Pemby's World of Murder and Mystery, my brand new channel where I want to really explore my obsession with the Ripper murders and any other murders that come to mind that are worth pursuing to, maybe recreate the setting of, say, 10 Millions in Place, things like that, different murder scenes. Now, this video is showing Robert Paul's perspective. He's just walking up Bucks Road from this direction. Now, with this model, you can see a figure stood in the middle of the road. You can't make out what's on the left-hand side. We all know is Polly Nichols. But the point of this video is we need to ascertain how far behind Robert Paul was from Charles Lechmere, what he could see, what he was conscious of, what the weather conditions are like, which we know it was supposedly clear, which I've depicted it as clear without any fog, even though fog looks really sets the mood, doesn't it? But it's not realistic. But the lighting in the sky, maybe that sky is a bit too light, and there's a lot less visibility. Plus, Robert Paul wouldn't have had a flashlight like I've got. This model, by the way, is by Hooks. I've downloaded it and imported it. I had to convert it and import it into Unreal Engine. But as I was saying, he's walking up the road, he's conscious of the fact that he's late for work, so he's walking up here on automatic pilot. Now we need to know how far ahead Charles Lechmere was of Robert Paul, and sod all this bloody Charles Cross nonsense, shut the hell up with that. Anyway, we need to ascertain what he could see, what he was conscious of. And there was some point in his commute that he sees this man in the middle of the road who then taps him on the shoulder and encourages him to come and look at his find. You know what I mean? So we've got to take different things into consideration. How fast he was walking. Now maybe he was walking quicker than this, because I've got it set at like a reasonable walking speed. But I think he would have been walking quicker. But it's how quickly was he aware that Charles Lechmere was stood where the woman was? Now, as I've made this model, Bucks Road was perhaps even more narrow than this for all I know. It might have been a bit wider, I'm not so sure. But Robert Paul is just about to try and get past him. And this guy here, I've not animated it as such. I could do it with AI. Maybe in editing I would have done it, because this geezer, he puts his hand on his shoulder, stops him in his tracks, and points him to poor old Polly who's lying there. Of course, we can see a lot more there, blood around the neck, because that's basically this scene. I did originally set it up for when PC Neil finds the body, and that's more or less what he would have seen. Maybe not so much blood, but you get the point. Right, so how far ahead was this man, Charles Alan Lechmere? Yeah, how far ahead was he of Robert Paul? And if he's 7 to 8 minutes ahead, he's what's he still there for? This is part of the reason why I made this model as the board school. Is it a board school, or is it made into flats now? I don't know. But right here where this wall is where Whitechapel Station is. It's like an exit and an entrance. Let's jump onto the roof. Missed. I've exaggerated the jump. You can see down below there. There's a train track with a train. So basically what I'm saying is, this man has intercepted the second man on his way to work. He's kind of like just wanted to avoid him. He sees him at some point, yeah, and then he calmly says, come and have a look at this woman. But if this man's been there for quite a while, you know, how can you not think that that's suspicious? It's more than suspicious, you know. Never mind, it's not suspicious, mate. It bloody is. Well, anyway, I just wanted to make this point by actually showing you Robert Paul's footsteps and what he may. I mean, you can see what you can see from this video, but in reality, I think it would have been darker. And we need to know at what point is he alerted, given the fact that he's on his way to work, he's late, so he's not really conscious of, you know, much. But at what point was he conscious of this man standing in the middle of the road? Obviously, when he's seen him, which I think would have had to get reasonably close to see him, and then, you know, he's directed Robert Paul, who I am right now, to this poor lady who was, you know, already had a really bad life and down on her luck, you know. You get all in the West End, you get all those people dripping in gold and silver, and you get people who couldn't even afford to. You didn't know where the next meal was coming from, you know. Child mortality was very, very low. Even Charles Lechmere's youngest son died when he was 2 years old. Plus the fact that Mr. Lechmere here, his son was called Charles Allen Lechmere Jr. So a lot of people go on about the cross name, and I don't think the cross name was anything but get out of jail card sort of thing, you know. I'm called Cross. You know what I mean? I'm called Cross. Right. Enough said. But his wife was called Lechmere, and all his kids were called Lechmere, and everything he did officially was in the name Lechmere. And the Lechmere name was significant in the way he named his children. Saying that though, one of his sons was called Thomas. Some say that's in recognition of his stepfather, his late stepfather, Thomas Cross, who died in 1869. And by this time, his mother Maria was remarried again in the name of Fosdyke. Now, all of this I know from the brilliant work of the House of Lechmere, Edward Stowe. Absolutely brilliant. But I don't think there's anybody tried to, you know, reenact what happened that night, well, that morning, as I have here in Unreal Engine. Bucks Row, how far ahead was Charles Lechmere of Robert Paul? I hope I've been able to illustrate it and explain what I mean. We need to know how fast he was going, how conscious was he, because he was late for work. When I've been late for work and I find myself indicating left and indicating right in my car, I'm not even thinking about it because my subconscious is took over, you know what I mean? So Robert Paul's walking up here basically. At what point did he see Charles Lechmere? And why, if he's quite a few minutes ahead of him, is he still stood there? It doesn't need to be. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. This mystery and this argument will go on for centuries after I'm long gone, you know. Nobody's going to find out about Jack the Ripper unless they go back in time, which maybe one day humanity will be able to do practically anything. I doubt it though. Anyway, thank you for watching, and please click like, please subscribe, because I'm trying to get this channel off the ground. I'll be directing a lot of my Pemby's Gaming World videos to this channel from now on. That's if I continue with the gaming scene, which is pretty stale, to be honest. So I've come here and I will show you my different models that I've created. You saw in the last video my Miller's Court representation, wrong word, you know what I mean. My creation of Miller's Court, which I think I'm quite proud of. Plus, I've also done Burner Street, so look out for that one when it's in a future video. I'm Pembe, and I'm out of here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Later.